Hello. Welcome to week 4 of Distance Learning 2.0. And I'm recording in my kitchen because I just thought it'd be fun to do something a little different here. And so you might see my cat in the background. Just a reminder, this week we're doing things a little differently. As I go through the notes, I'm going to pause the video at every red square problem that you see. You need to go to the Schoology quiz and enter in that answer. You probably want to do all of them on your iPad or paper and then go back and enter them all in at once onto the Schoology quiz, and that's how you're getting graded for your notes this week. Also, just a reminder too, this is not the only opportunity you have to learn this material. I'm here to help. I can make more videos, I can answer questions, we can do one-on-one, you can email screenshots, you can do all kinds of stuff. So don't feel like this is the only chance you have to learn this material. All right, so first we're gonna do an example, and then you're gonna do your example and turn it into Schoology. Remember, the hanger means that we have a balanced equation, and so question marks, we can call question marks x's there, and the numbers are just ones. So if we were to write this as an equation, we would say we have 3 x's and 6 ones, and then another x, which we could write as 1x if we wanted, or just leave it as a naked x. And then we have 38 ones on the right-hand side. Now visually, we can regroup these things, and we could say we have 4 x's over here, and that's the same thing as saying we're going to combine like terms if we're on the same side of the equal sign. So we have 4 x's. Notice nothing happened with the 6. The 6 did not get combined because it is not an x. Only x's can be added to x's, and 1's can be added to 1's. And we didn't do anything with the 38. We just regrouped, right? We just took the 3 and the 1 and we put it together. Now, we want to know how much each x is worth. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove 6 from both sides of the equal sign here, or from the hanger. And so that gives us 32 ones over here on the right-hand side, and then these 6 ones are now gone. And we can do that because if you do one thing to one side of the equal sign, then you need to do it to the other side, because the two sides weigh the same. And so if you take the same weight off both sides, it also remains the same. All right, and what we do when we're solving this equation is we would say, okay, same thing from last week with the two-step equations, right? Divide by 4, so then you only have 1x, divides top to bottom, so that's 32 divided by 4 is equal to 8. And visually, if we wanted to see what that looks like, we could take this 32 and we could break it into 4 groups of 8. So there's an 8, there's an 8, there's an 8, and there's an 8. And then you can visually see that every x must be worth 8 ones because they are grouped equally, and that means that x is equal to 8. Okay, go ahead and do your example, make an equation, solve it, and then come back and we'll go on. All right, I hope you're feeling successful on that last example. Here's some more examples from me. So we have these examples here. This one's very similar to the one we just did. We have 2 groups of x's. A strategy that I like to use is I like to circle the x's in one color, and then I'll use another color on the ones, and then always remember to put the line down the middle where the equal sign is to help you stay organized. So we're going to just follow that same strategy that we had where we combine the 2 groups, meaning add. You always add when you're combining. So that would be 8 x's. Nothing happened with the 27, and then you have 51 on the other side. And now it's just a 2-step equation, right? So minus 27 from both sides. That makes this become 0. So then we have 8 x's all alone. Always add top to bottom. So on your calculator, you're going to do 51 plus negative 27. Let's take a look at what that looks like. 51 plus negative 27 is how you would put it in your calculator, and you get 24. All right, and then you would divide both sides by 8 because that tells you how much each x is worth. And I got a little too big with my handwriting here, but that's okay. That's one of the things I like about the iPad, although it can be a little annoying, it is kind of nice to be able to regroup and move stuff and make yourself more room. Okay, so there's that one. Again, very similar to what we just did, but just without the visual of the hanger. This one, again, going to be very, very similar to what we just did, but we have the X's on the right-hand side. So if you get a little nervous when you see the X's on the right-hand side, again, feel free to rearrange them, put all the X's on the left-hand side if it helps you sleep at night. I'm going to show how to do it without doing that step first. So here we have a group of 3 X's and a group of -4 X's. You're going to add those together. Again, on your calculator, you would do 3 plus -4. So this is going to be -1X. Then we also have 2 groups of 1s. So the 2 groups of 1s also need to be added together. And this is kind of interesting because it's 2 plus 6. And since it's a +8, we would write +8 so that we knew it was positive. So then nothing happened on the left-hand side, so we just rewrite it. And now, again, it's just a 2-step equation. So you always add or subtract first, -8 from both sides. That becomes 0. Remember, you're always adding top to bottom. So that would be 4 is equal to -1 X's. Divide by -1 on both sides. That tells you that you have to divide top to bottom. So 4 divided by -1 is what you put into your calculator. And -4 is equal to X is our final answer. All right, so you have 2 questions that are very, very similar to the ones we just did. Go ahead and try those on your own. A little hint that you might need here is remember that this is 1 X in front of there. So whenever you see a naked X, it's always a 1 actually. So go ahead and pause the video and do those and come back and we'll do a couple more examples together. Okay, I'm back. So we're going to go on to some examples that include distributing. Now, distributing just means multiplying. I'm going to go through these kind of slowly. They're kind of tricky. I'm not going to lie to you. They're kind of tricky. So again, feel free if you need more help, you need more examples. I'm happy to do more examples with you if you contact me. So we got -3 in front of a parenthesis, and then we have 2x minus 11 inside of the parenthesis. So whenever you see parentheses in an equation that you need to solve, you want to get rid of the parentheses before you do any kind of combining like terms or regrouping. And how you get rid of parentheses is that this is a secret multiplication in between there. And so you have to multiply times both things that are inside of the parentheses, then rewrite it, and it will no longer be in the parentheses. So what does that look like? Well, you're going to multiply everything that you see. So our first thing we're going to do is -3 times 2x. And in your calculator, you can't put in the x, right? You have to just do the numbers. So you do -3 times 2, -3 times 2, and we get -6. So you can't put the x in your calculator, but you know that you're still multiplying by x, so you would always rewrite it with an x there as well. All right, the next thing we need to be really careful about is that, remember, whenever you have a number, the sign that's to the left goes with that number. So the negative goes with the 11. So on this one, it's actually going to be -3 times -11. And I did that silly thing again. -3 times -11. And we get +33. So remember, whenever your result is positive, you would write it as a plus. This 1x was not inside of the parentheses, so nothing changes about it. Oops, not 77, 73. And now it looks like the questions we just did, right? So you see you can do some regrouping, and I'm going to use my highlighting. Oops, that's not the highlighter. Highlight the numbers in one color and then the groups of X's in another color, just so that I can stay organized. All right, so this next step, I'm going to add this -6 X's and the 1x together to get -5x. And then 33 does not get combined with anything there, and then there's 73. All right, so now it's just a two-step equation. We did that last week. We're getting some extra practice in with it this week. All you have to do is just add or subtract first to get the x alone. So that becomes 0. So that way we only have x's on the left-hand side. And then we get add top to bottom. So 73 plus negative 33 is positive 40. All right, and then last step is to divide by negative 5. That groups all the ones into the groups so that we can see how much each x is worth. Remember, you're going to divide top to bottom. 40 divided by negative 5 is negative 8. Okay, so there's an example. It's tricky. Like I said, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think these are easy, but we can get through it, and I'm here to help. All right, so we see that we have parentheses. They're on the right-hand side. So I'm going to highlight everything that's in the parentheses. And this one's extra tricky because we don't see anything in front of the parentheses, but there's a secret 1 there. And actually, it is a negative 1. If you recall, the number that is to the left is the symbol that is to the left of the number belongs to that number. So this negative belongs to that 1, and now we are going to distribute. We are going to distribute only the negative 1 because the 4 is not in front of the parenthesis, it's to the side of the negative 1. So if I do negative 1 times 1x on my calculator, it would be negative 1 times 1. That would be negative, did that thing again. Negative 1 times 1. I get negative 1. So I have negative 1x. Again, I'm going to do the next one, which is negative 1 times 12. So negative 1 times 12 is equal to, I did it again. This is a good example of making sure you're clearing your calculator before you go on to your next question that you're trying to do. So negative 12 is the answer to that one. We didn't do anything with the 4, so we just rewrite it, and then the 14 also, we didn't do anything with that. All right, I'm going to highlight using my strategy. All the x's get highlighted in one color, and then all the numbers get highlighted in another color. That way I can keep them organized, and my eye see what's really going on a little better. All right, so here we can see we have 2 groups of 1s on this side, so we need to regroup them, which means add them together or combine them. And we do 4 plus negative 12. Always add when you're combining like terms. So that's negative 8 x's, or sorry, not x's, just 1s, so we don't need those there. So negative 8, and then it's only 1 group of x's, so that stays the same, and then we did not do anything with a 14. All right, and now it's just a 2-step equation. We're getting really good at this. Remember, we want to get the x alone. We're going to add or subtract first, so that's becomes 0, so we know that we have the x's alone on that side. 8 and 14 is 22, and that's negative 1x. Because the negative 8 and the positive 8 canceled out. And so now we are going to divide by negative 1 so that we know exactly how much each x is worth. Remember to divide top to bottom. So just as a reminder, it would be 22 divided by negative 1, top to bottom. So that's negative 22. Make this all a little smaller here. Negative 22 is equal to x. That's how many 1s are balanced with each x. All right, and that's pretty much it for me today. You're going to do these last couple questions on your own. I just wanted to set you up since we have a couple extra seconds left on the video here. Remember, you want to highlight what's inside of the parentheses and distribute first. And that looks a little weird on this one because there's parentheses here, but remember, you're only distributing to the things that are inside of the parentheses, and then you rewrite everything and regroup. And then it'll just become a 2-step equation. And you guys got that from last week. All right, good luck. Again, feel free, reach out to me, email or my Google Voice number you can call or text. Remember, it's 612-888-7388. If that's convenient for you. Otherwise, my email is great as well. All right, have fun.